and happy November 9th. I figured there was no better day than today to do a review of November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Now, in normal Kaylee fashion, I had no background information of this book and I did not know anything about what the plot was going to be. My friend Tange let me borrow a stack of her Colleen Hoover books. This was one of them, and one day while I was looking for a new book to read, I just decided that it was the time that I dive into this one. You guys just wait. I do not know how Colleen Hoover comes up with this stuff, but I cannot wait to discuss it with you. This book follows Fallon, and she was seriously burned in a house fire when she was younger. And now she is struggling with self-confidence, and she's trying to figure out what she's going to do next with her life because she thinks that her career as an actress is over after the scars that are left on her body from the fire. And Fallon also has a very strained relationship with her father. And so at this point in the very beginning of the book, Fallon has decided that she is going to move cross-country to New York to try and figure out what is next for her career. So since she is leaving, she has to say goodbye to her dad, which means lunch together before she goes. Well, of course, the lunch with her dad is not going well, but to her rescue comes Ben, an aspiring writer who she has never met before, who pretends to be her fake boyfriend to end the lunch. So after this lunch, where Ben comes to Fallon's rescue, they form a friendship and then they form a pact. And their pact is that once a year, for 5 years, they are going to meet on the day that they met just to catch up. No matter where they are, no matter what's going on in their lives, they are going to meet on the day that they met. And of course, that day happens to be November 9th, which leads to the significance of this date and of the title of the book. This funny introduction turned friendship turned pact is going to be the plot of Ben's future book. He's going to continue to write about their story and their experiences for that next 5 years as they catch up with each other. So let's think about this for a minute. Colleen Hoover wrote her character to be writing a book about the plot of her book. This woman is brilliant. As this book continues, we go through the year that Fallon and Ben have had. Their struggles, insecurities, failures, things that they're trying to accomplish, and just their year since they've last met. This book doesn't really bring a fall atmosphere, but the entire story is based on a date in November. So it is still a great pick for this month, and happy meeting day, Ben and Fallon. I can't share any more about this plot because I am not going to ruin it for you. Do yourself a favor and read this book. Wow, wow, wow. It is so good, you guys. You think that you know what's going to happen, and then Colleen Hoover just veers onto a completely different course with where she is going, and it's phenomenal. She is such a good author, but I'm sure you already knew that. So on top of having a fantastic plot, Colleen Hoover also has some really incredible quotes or just pieces of information in this book. For example, she writes, "You'll never be able to find yourself if you are lost in someone else." Stop. That is so good. Is she a motivational personal coach or something? And then she hits us with, "Whoever said that truth hurts is being an optimist. The truth is an excruciatingly painful son of a..." Now let's get into my thoughts on this book. If you couldn't tell already, I absolutely loved it. I really loved the characters. I loved the concept of the plot, but more importantly, I feel like the concept of the plot was really well executed. So at the beginning of the book, we get to know Fallon and Ben. And then in each chapter after that, we get their 1 year meetup and the things that happened in that year and get to know more about them. I was really skeptical at first, thinking that this book was going to get pretty boring with each chapter being separated by a year. But I should know better than that. Colleen Hoover knows how to end a chapter because there was a cliffhanger at the end of every chapter. Silly me, I thought that I was just gonna close the chapter and be done, but like last line of every chapter, I needed to know what was going to happen next, and you better believe I was flipping to the next chapter to see what was happening in the following year. There was something else that I really wanted to talk to you guys about from this book. So we find out that Fallon is a reader, and she refers to having a TBR pile. Is that where that phrase originated from? Or was this a saying pre-Colleen Hoover? As I read it, I was really surprised actually. I wasn't sure if maybe this is where people started to reference that from, or if Colleen Hoover was just very with the times and the wording and included that in her book. Either way, it made me feel extremely connected to Fallon. I love when a character in the book also loves reading. I just instantly love them. Now you guys know a little bit about the characters, a little bit about the plot, some things that I liked about the book, but what we really need to talk about is the plot twist. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't expecting it. I was shocked. I don't know how many other ways I can say that, but Colleen Hoover got me. I mean, she does with all of her books, so really I should stop being so surprised, but this one was good. Without any spoilers, I would love, if you have read this book, please let me know down in the comments if you were expecting the plot twist that happened or if it caught you by surprise as well. I need to know if I was alone in not catching on to this, because wow, she got me. This book was written just from Fallon's point of view. So in a lot of other books, and definitely in some of Colleen Hoover's other books, it is a dual point of view. But this one, it is just Fallon's point of view, and I have no complaints about that. It actually really worked for this book, and I flew through this book. I do with the majority of Colleen Hoover's books, but this one I absolutely loved, and I think it outranks some of her other ones for me. So I guess that we should jump into dislikes like we do with all of my other reviews. I'll say that I don't really have any. I guess I could say that it was a little bit cheesy, but I think that's to be expected with a fake dating trope type of book. So really, I just don't have any major complaints. Now it is time for my final review. And for my final review, I am going to give this one 4 stars. I loved this book more than I expected to, and I still really enjoy the concept of the plot and that they meet every year for 5 years on that anniversary. I don't think I have read a similar story or come across a similar plot, so it felt very original to me, and I still think about how much I love that. I also loved the quotes, characters, and the pacing. I would highly recommend this book to anyone who loves a good Colleen Hoover book, all of us, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who enjoys a good fake dating trope with a twist. If you have not read this one yet, do it. And if you have, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to know what you thought about this book and especially the plot. As always, I really appreciate you watching, and I have all of my usual links down below in case you would like to connect with me on TikTok and Goodreads, and I have a link down below for Book of the Month Club if you are interested in signing up at a discounted price. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!